did you ever have the sex talk with your parents? Did you ever get a sex talk?
So. No, I don't think so.
And did you end up having a sex talk with your kid?
Oh yeah.
Right? Like how do you talk to him about sex?
Oh yes, I did. I did. Yeah.
I'm Sara Jane Ho, and this is Mind Your Manners, where no topic is off limits as we uncover the secrets to feeling at ease in every situation.
Today's guest is a real estate agent on the Netflix show Selling Sunset. Mary Fitzgerald Bonnet is known for her glamorous life and fabulous sense of style. And yet, despite that, she is mature, down-to-earth, kind, and not judgmental. Because Mary wasn't handed anything. Today you'll hear everything that she had to overcome to become what she is today, a top-grossing broker at the Oppenheim Group, a Netflix star, and with her incredible new book that I could not put down, author of her own memoir, Selling Sunshine. Mary, welcome to the pod.
Thank you for having me.
Well, I think there's so much that we can learn from you, and I want to get as much as possible today. So,
Sure.
So in this episode, I'm going to go rapid fire through your life.
Sure.
From teenage mom to making a career to, domestic abuse, financial abuse. You've overcome so much. So let's get right into it.
Okay, let's do it.
I've been reading your new book, Selling Sunshine, and it opens with you finding out that you were pregnant at the age of 15 and you gave birth and became a mother at the age of 16. How did that happen and what was that like for you?
Well, it happened the way it normally does. I had a boyfriend at 15. Back in Indiana, we were very, very religious. I went to a Catholic school. My parents were very religious, and it was just one of those things where you don't have sex until you're married. But
they knew you had a boyfriend.
So I had a boyfriend, and it was the first guy I ever slept with, and I got pregnant within a couple months of ever sleeping with him, and I just didn't have the resources. I couldn't drive myself. My parents wouldn't approve of me getting on birth control, and I couldn't tell them that I was sexually active, and so I got pregnant.
And what's nuts is that your sister also was a teenage mom at 18.
Yeah, she was away at college. She was young. She was 17 when she started college. She started school very young. She's very, very intelligent. And she was away at college for architecture, engineering, and or something like that.
So she got pregnant at 18, and then you got pregnant right after that?
6 months after.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I know, my parents were so proud.
And then you refused to give your child up for adoption, or you didn't. Your parents didn't make you have an abortion. You didn't. I mean, walk me through. How were you feeling?
I don't know why for me it wasn't on the table, because I've always kind of believed in just women's rights and even though my parents didn't, but I don't know why. I can't really explain it. It just was not an option for me.
Like not even on your radar.
No.
It was like, I'm going to have this baby.
Yeah.
I have a friend from Utah, and she also was a teenage mom. Like she got pregnant, actually, I think right around college, and she actually gave up her baby for adoption.
Yeah. My mom wanted me to in the beginning. She's very glad I didn't now. But in the beginning, she wanted me to. I can't explain why. I'm glad that I had that in me at that time. I can't explain why I could not do it. But now I know, like, he was basically a miracle. So that I could even have him. So, things happen for a reason.
And it all worked out. But I mean, it's like, so you went through high school and you went through college being a teenage mom.
Yes.
Did you ever feel, and as I was reading your book, like you juggled so much stuff, right? And your mother, she wanted you to tough it out.
Yes.
So she wasn't stepping in every moment of the way to help you babysit or this or that.
Right.
I mean, well, firstly, were you treated differently for being a teenage mom at school? And secondly, like, was there ever a time where you thought, I can't do this. Like, I need to give up?
Many times. Yeah. So I was treated very differently. Yeah. I was kind of shunned. I was not really allowed to be in my church anymore.
So the church kicked you out?
Pretty much, yeah. I wasn't allowed to go through confirmation.
I mean, did that make your family angry or upset?
They were embarrassed. Yeah, they were humiliated. I mean, I was a family embarrassment, really. I mean, they didn't want to say it, but I mean, it was very, very apparent, and it was very hard on my family's, my parents' relationship, their marriage. It caused a lot of fighting, and
what were they fighting about? Like, what was their difference in
just stress, and you know how just stress is. Like,
did they have different views of their daughter, like being a teenage mom?
I don't know. My dad's very quiet. I think they were both it was just a lot of stress on both of them. My dad's very quiet and retreats. My mom is very vocal. In her head, she was fighting for the relationship, and my dad is like retreating to not fight.
Which is pretty common in a relationship, actually. There's one who like is a turtle that hides in a shell, right?
Yeah.
And the other one is like trying to attack.
Yes. That was part of it. So it was very, very difficult on my family. And I think it changed who I am. And that's why I'm the way I am. And I don't judge people, and I don't criticize people, because you don't know where they're from. You don't know what they're going through. And I know how it feels to be judged and to be looked down upon. And so I try to give everybody benefit of the doubt on that one. But yeah, it was very difficult. College and high school were not easy. And there were many, many nights I lack of sleep trying to just get everything done. I wrecked multiple cars, falling asleep at the wheel. Was in a hospital. It was very difficult, and I would just cry. Sometimes I'm like, I can't do this. But you cry, you get it out, and move on. I mean, it's life.
It's almost like that. The fact that this happened to you so young really made you who you were today.
Yeah, it set me up. I think I didn't understand why I had to go through all of that. But now looking back on it, I'm so sensitive. I think it just toughened my skin just enough, like where I can tolerate, for the most part, all the criticism that we get from being on the show. Right. Because, there's always haters out there. And I'm the kind of person that, I can get 90% like just positive comments and positive everything on social media and from the press. And then that 10% is like, it's like a knife in my heart. Like, I'm just like, oh my God, but that's not true. I didn't. Like, and I'm like, oh. And so I've had to learn how to tolerate that, but I don't think I would have been able to if I didn't go through that. When I was younger.
Like going through that seems so much harder than receiving some negative criticism online, which I definitely want to go into later on when we talk about the show.
It was more difficult because it was true what people were saying. It was true that I was what I was.
Yeah.
I mean, but that's also what gave me the motivation to become more than that.
And so when you mentioned, like how Indiana, there's a lot of Catholic influence, right? You guys are really tied with the church. And my friend from Utah, obviously, they have their LDS, their Latter-day Saints out there, and they don't talk about sex at all.
Right.
Did you ever have the sex talk with your parents? Did you ever get a sex talk?
I don't believe so. No, I don't think so.
But did you end up having a sex talk with your kid?
Oh, yeah.
Right? Like, how do you talk to him about sex?
Oh yes, I did. I did. Yeah. Oh, I made jokes about it because, but I gave him condoms. I gave him like, I'm trying to remember. I did something funny because I knew he would just not listen, and be embarrassed. Like, but he had a girlfriend in high school.
Okay, so how old was he when you first started to speak to him about sex?
Oh, I mean, I would talk to him when he was about 13. Probably. I started talking to him about it. It might have even been younger than that.
And how do you do that, right? Because we want to give tips for parents out there. Like, how do you have the sex talk with your kids?
God.
Because I never got the sex talk. I mean, I grew up in Hong Kong. Like, Chinese parents are conservative.
My parents never talked. I mean,
it's probably the same as like having Catholic parents.
Yeah. I mean, I never barely saw my parents even hold hands or kiss. Like,
oh wow.
Yeah.
No PDA.
No, none.
Wait,
ever.
Is that a Catholic thing? Like no PDA?
It was a thing in my family. Well, I don't know.
Chinese is like no PDA.
Yeah, and my mom would even say PDA. Like she's like, no PDA in public. Like, and even when I was like an adult and married, she was like, oh, Mary. Like, I was like, I'm like, married. What are you talking about? Like, I know I'm polar opposite, like about that stuff. But
and you married a French guy. But okay, so like,
yeah, I know, right?
So your parents like don't even do PDA, let alone talk about like penetration. So okay, so how do you have the sex talk with your kids?
I think you just have to be honest and real. Whenever something comes up, do you like this boy or this girl? Do you like, and once you know, like they have an interest, you just have to be very open and honest, just realistic, I think.
Okay, so how did you do with your son? How did you do with Austin? He was 13, he was dating a girl, and you were like...
Well, I think he was 15. He was 15 when he started dating her. And I just asked her, oh, do you like her? I was like, well, what have you done? Like, have you guys kissed? Have you? And Mom, I was like, have you?
Yeah.
Have you guys kissed yet? Like,
that's
okay,
actually
do you
a
know?
Great opening question, because it's, you're kind of like going in that you're not going full on like, have you had sex yet? You're like, yeah, what have you done? Have you kissed yet?
Yeah. Do you guys hold hands?
Do you guys hold hands? Okay,
just like almost
really
like a friends, like almost like where it's like, oh, I was like, that's cool, and in a positive way, like where, oh, I was like, that's cool. Oh, tell me about her. Like, okay, have you guys held hands yet? Have you? Where it's like it makes them feel like open. It's okay to tell me. Like I'm happy about it. I'm being okay, and it's
I like
safe.
that. Yeah, you're not coming in from a position of like reprimanding them, because that'll just close the kid up to you, right? And what I've realized is you want your kids to tell you what's going on in their lives. And if you're too strict or you don't give them a safe space to feel like they won't be judged, like then they're not going to tell you anything. And then that leads to things like, what happened to you?
Yeah.
So then you ask him these questions, and then how did you get it to the sex talk, right? Because like asking if he's held hands is one thing, asking if he's like penetrated the girls is another thing.
I think I just basically took it back to me. I mean, it's been so long. He's 28 now, but almost 28. But I think I just took it back to me. It's like, well, if you guys ever get to the place where you want to do more, please tell me. I was like, because it's okay, but I want to make sure that you're protected. I was like, because what happened to me? I didn't listen, and I didn't protect myself. And so...
Wait, did you not listen, or did you just not know?
Oh, well, I didn't know. Well, I knew. I didn't.
So you knew how babies were made, but you just didn't think...
I didn't have the resources, and
you didn't know where to get a condom.
I didn't... It didn't register that it could happen that quickly. I knew, but there were no resources, and I was a 15-year-old kid. I was going to do what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And consequences weren't my first priority. I didn't understand the consequences at that age. And so I wanted to make sure when I talked to my son that I know that things are going to happen, and that's okay. I just want to make sure you're safe. You have a really bright future. I don't want something to happen like where it's going to hold you back or make things more difficult. I'm always here, and you're never going to get in trouble. Just tell me.
That is a beautiful way to put it. To talk about like, you have so much going for you.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure you don't make a mistake that's hold you back. And if you're ever in trouble, tell me. He is so lucky to have you as a mother, because my parents never said anything like that.
Yeah. Mine didn't either.
But yeah, that's pretty incredible.
I think even with drinking too, like, because my worst fear, I knew from being a teenager, and I saw my friends, how many people they're afraid of getting in trouble. So they drive drunk. They're like, oh, they're not going to find out. They can't have their parents come pick them up or something, even though they knew that they didn't want to get in trouble. They tried to get away with it. And I was like, you will never, ever be in trouble if you call me, and I will come pick you up. I will go take you for a burger and have your drunk burger, whatever.
Yep.
I don't care. You
come
come
for food. Yeah.
Call me anytime, and I will come pick you up. If I find out that you drive and you didn't call me, then you're in trouble. I will be happy with you if you call me drunk. Because I don't ever want him to feel scared, like where I'm not giving you permission to drink, but if that happens, you better call me.
Yeah, because it happens. Listen, we've all been teenagers, like you end up having beers on the beach or whatever
it's going to happen.
Yeah.
And I just want to make sure he's safe. And so I think letting your kids know that they have that safe space, it's not giving them permission, it's giving them the space to have someone save them.
Look out for them.
And that
do should
dumb
be apparent.
things, because they do dumb things.
Yeah, we've all done dumb things. So going back to your teenage pregnancy, I mean, in most families, that is the kind of secret that they would guard with their lives, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what made you decide to open up about this to literally the world through your book? Because that's a choice.
It is a choice. I have realized that through some of the things that I've opened up about, how many people needed it and were grateful because they felt not alone. They felt like they've been through stuff, and it gave them permission almost to talk about things and to just feel validated in some things, like where I think with domestic violence, with fertility, with things as small as ADHD,
I feel
IBS,
that is more common than going, being a 16-year-old teenage mom. Like, were there people you met along your journey who said, like, thank you so, like,
about the teenage mom?
Yeah, like, why did you choose to open up with that?
Oh, well, that's part of my life. That I think I should just starting from the beginning. If I'm not embarrassed about it. It was hard. It's made me who I am. And I don't regret any of it. I mean, it made things more difficult. I wish I would have, now being a parent, I wish I would have done some things differently, as we all do. I mean, I think people have a feeling of that they have to be perfect as a parent, and there's no such thing.
Parenting is hard. Parenting is so hard.
Yeah. We're all learning. I mean, when your kid's going through their first thing, we are too. I mean, you've never done this with this child before. You've never had to deal. Every child's different.
And I also feel like it's very different. Like when we were kids, the way our parents were, with like they weren't reading books about how to be a good parent,
right?
and then they had whatever like issues they had from our grandparents, right?
Yeah.
They didn't talk about emotions or feelings. Like they never. I mean, I was never asked, "How are you today?"
Right?
Are you happy at school?
Yeah.
I feel that our generation is the one that's been like, okay, what do we not want to carry on?
Right.
And we're reading books, we're watching YouTube, all these things, and we're being better parents for our kids. So I think you opening up about that is also a sign of like maybe a sort of a lack of what your parents didn't tell you, like not giving you sex talks, this and that.
Right. Yeah.
But it's how it's changed with you and your son.
I think so. And I feel like it's okay to not be a perfect parent. As long as you are trying your best, if you are trying to get better every day, that's all we can all do. But
it's not about perfection, it's about progress.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to your career. When did you move to LA and how did you get into real estate?
I moved in 2001, right after college. Pretty much. I just basically moved. Well, I wanted to get away. I've always thought about moving to someplace, a bigger city, someplace warm with more opportunity. And after horrible breakup, I decided I'm out of here. So packed my bags and moved for just a new life, more opportunity. And I got into real estate because I went to college for radiology and there were no jobs available. They were giving sign-on bonuses everywhere, all over the country at this time. And so I thought, I'm going to go see what area is the best. I'm going to, start looking and get things set up for myself and my son. And then I drive my car out all excited. And I realized when I get here that there was fluke. There's like one of the hospitals closed down for like, I don't know, for whatever reason. And there were no jobs available. And so I had to figure something out. And I had a friend of a friend that owned a mortgage brokerage. And so he brought me on as a loan processor. So I kind of started that way, kind of got into it a little bit that way. And then through the years, I just found myself moving constantly from apartment to apartment. Every year I would move, and it was so expensive.
And you were paycheck to paycheck at that time.
I was.
And you're reading in your book.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yes.
Things were tight. Like you were juggling
tight.
3 jobs at a time, and trying to pay for your son's
everything,
tuition. Yeah,
everything. And I made sure like he was always in his sports that he hated, but it's good for him. So. It was very difficult, but I did what I had to do. And I would move every year though, because that was the thing I loved. I loved seeing new areas. I loved seeing new places because everything in LA, they have different styles. They have different architecture and different vibes in each neighborhood.
Every neighborhood is like a little village. It's a different village.
Yeah. It's like every little pocket. And I loved discovering them. And so I did what you should never do. Like, I mean, it cost me so much money. And so finally I realized I could actually do this for other people, for a career, make money instead of uprooting my own life and my son's life every year. And I would try to stay within the same school district, but I would still uproot our home life. And just because I'm
Wow.
like, yes, this is a new beginning and a new environment. And I found the one. Like, I was like.
And then you learned so much about each neighborhood. I guess you got really good at selling them.
I sure did. Yeah.
And
you can ask me any place in LA. And I, from Palos Verdes to Agora Hills, I mean, I know them all.
And the thing is that, you know, every time I watch an episode of Selling Sunset, as long as there's like a $30 million mansion, Jason is putting you as the selling agent on it, right? So, I mean, you've like come really far.
Yeah.
Like,
well, I bring him on with him too. But.
What is it really like working at the Oppenheim Group, and how does it compare to what we see on the show?
Well, it's amazing working there. I mean, I've been working there for 12 years, I believe it is.
Yeah.
It's amazing because I get to work with my best friends. Jason is my absolute best friend, and I couldn't have a better mentor, a better just family environment. I think nowadays, a lot of the girls do not go into the office as much unless we're filming, because it's kind of chaotic with all of the tour buses that come by and all the fans that are outside. So we did put up like a I live right off of Sunset Plaza, so I'm like right by next to you guys, and I see you guys put like a hedge or something. Yeah, well, that's come back to bite Jason too, because with all the winds with the fire, it blew over, and a woman got her ankle twisted, and now he's got like a lawsuit. Yeah, so that's a bit in the butt. A little bit, but yeah, so we don't go into the office quite as much. It has impacted our ability to work like we used to. Just for safety reasons, we can't do open houses unless we have security with us. And that used to be how I got all of my business. And now it's referrals, and now it's like new clients and I have a lot of clients from the UK and stuff like that. So it's opened up doors where we would never have had them opened, and people know who we are, but it's also changed the way we do business. We can't have our phone number on anything. And how are people supposed to contact you if you don't have a phone number?
Unless you have like two phones, but still.
Right. But people will send you very inappropriate things, and they just call to talk.
What do they send? Dick pics?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Lots and lots of dick pics. Yeah. And so lots of them. That always baffles me.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. It's like, wow.
What do you think my response is?
It's like
think, ooh. Like, what do you think happens? Like, I don't know what guys think, but that is.
Yeah, it's like, are you going to respond with a vag pic? Like, come on, guys. Like, it's not going to happen.
I know. I'm like, what? I don't know what people think, but.
What is the craziest thing you've gotten? Like, from
Oh, God. Who knows? We've received so many things. And.
Because I can't think of anything crazier than a dick pic.
I think dick pics are probably the worst, because we try to like limit like as much as possible. But yeah, we've just had to take them off, because people will just call nonstop and just like, hi. So I just want to know, like, are you and Chriselle really like getting along right now?
Yeah.
And people just call all the time, just like, hi, I'm a big fan. I was like, so I just want to say, or you should talk more about and not let these girls bully you. And
that's
I'm like,
so
there's like these young kids. There's
Honestly,
like the men,
adorable.
like, hey, you want to come over?
No,
like, I'm like,
you're like, yeah, send me an address.
wow.
I'll be right there.
Like, oh God. And it happens always at the most inconvenient times, like where I'm in the middle with my my elderly clients or something, and they're like, hey, and I'll answer the phone, and they're kind of like, I was like, I'm very sorry, because I hang up on them. I'm like, sorry, that was a prank call. I'm sorry about that.
Okay, so going back to the do you girls hang out off the show, or?
Yeah, we do. For the most part, we go on vacation together sometimes.
You guys are really close.
We are, yeah. I mean, I would say right now there are more cliques kind of in the office, but I get along with almost everybody. And so I text back and forth with almost everybody. I think right now, like Chriselle and I, we love each other. We've always been close. Everyone thinks that there was some beef between us, and it's so not true. There was a misunderstanding at one point, and
as there are between friends.
Yeah, but we never had any hard feelings towards each other. And we've always loved each other. We've always trusted each other. I know that she would never do anything to try to hurt me. She knows that I would never do anything also. Like, so we can both call each other and be like, hey, listen, this is going on, like with filming, or this isn't, what do you want me to do? So we always try to protect each other, and just be very open with each other about, like, this is the way I see this going, and how do you want me to handle this? Like, or like, what are your thoughts on it? So just to give each other the respect.
And I feel you're very good with actually everybody on that. I mean, you're just so likable on the show, and you know, you're very you. Yeah. I mean, so Christina's gone now. Like, does it feel different?
I mean, she's been gone for many years now.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. And so it feels normal now. In the beginning, I loved her. Before we lived together before the show, and I always care about her, but I think the show changes people sometimes, and it brings out everyone's worst qualities and all their insecurities, whatever that looks like. Like for me, I think I have become more withdrawn, and I don't just go out as much as I used to. I'm much more
off camera.
Yeah, in my private life, I don't go out as much. I'm more protective of who I'm around, and if I know them, if I don't, like I don't really want to just hang out at a party or something, like a get together. If I don't know the people, or if my friends don't know them very well, I don't want to just hang out in a big setting. I'm happy to meet people in at a cocktail party or in
but you don't want to let your hair down.
Exactly, because I don't. You don't
know where it's going to go.
Exactly, I don't know like if they're trustworthy or not, and so I'm I'm guarded in that way, because we've had a lot of instances where people are trying to secretly film to try to sell a story or something like that, and so I think that's what's changed me. I think some other people are willing to do just anything to be in the limelight and to get attention. And
you think Christine was one of them?
Yeah, I think she lost track of what was going on and lost a sense of reality in the fact that we're not characters on a show. Mm-hmm. This is it's a reality show. It's our real life. And so, yes, we're making a show, but this impacts our real life. The things you say and do is affecting us and everything, our business, our personal life, our future. I think she lost track of that.
Like acting, almost like scripted show.
Yeah.
So it sounds like you guys aren't friends anymore.
We don't talk that much, but we don't really have anything against each other.
Yeah.
I saw her a few months ago, and we talked, and I told her I'm here for her with anything she needs because of her issue with her ex-husband.
Right.
That did domestic violence, and I don't wish that on anybody.
Yeah.
And I understand how she must be feeling and stuff like that. And so I told her I'm here for her. She knew like that I'd been through that.
That was good of you to reach out. So, selling high-end real estate means dealing with incredibly rich and powerful clients.
Yeah.
What are some surprising things you've learned about the luxury real estate market?
That people don't always know quality. People with a lot of money, sometimes it's new money. There's a lot like TikTokers out there that are young, they're inexperienced with real estate. And just because they have a lot of money to spend doesn't mean
that they have good taste.
Doesn't mean they have good taste, and it doesn't mean that they know what quality is. So you can have like very expensive homes that are just
low quality materials.
Yeah, just very poorly built. And so I think it's important to show people, to show your clients what makes this home valuable and what is it worth that price that they're asking, and if not, why. And to try to educate your clients.
Yeah, it sounds like education is a big part of it. And it is interesting, like the millionaires and billionaires now are no longer like necessarily old money or traditional industries, right? They are like social media, TikTok influencers. They're young. They're still
cannabis and stuff like that.
Right.
Like where you've got a lot of cash buyers in the cannabis industry.
Talking about relationships, before you and Roman got married, you were dating Jason, right?
Yes.
And he was your boss.
Yes.
And I remember
not at the time. He wasn't my boss when we dated.
Right. You dated before he then hired you to be part of Oppenheim. But I remember in season 3, it was like a major storyline, right? Of like your relationship. So what was that like to date your boss?
It wasn't a big deal for us. I mean,
because clearly it's not a big deal for him because he's since dated a lot of his agents.
Yeah, he's a master at staying friends with his ex-girlfriends.
How does he do that?
Honestly, I think it's because he never does anything to disrespect his girl, like the women. I mean, the fact that he doesn't want to commit. He's normally very honest and open about that. So when he does, he tries very hard, and you can see that he's tried, but when he just can't do it, that's who he is. And you kind of learn that. There's nothing to be mad about. And he's very honest about it. He never cheats. He never does anything. He treats you like a queen when you're together. And he also treats you even better afterwards, like after the breakup, weirdly.
Well, that's great.
Yeah. And so it's like, there's really nothing that you can be mad at him about. It's like, well, that's where he's at. And you're honest about it, just say, I love you. I feel suffocated. I can't be in a relationship. I just need a little bit of that space. You can't be mad at somebody for being who they are.
So he sounds like Jason's a commitment phobe.
Yes, he is. Absolutely.
And there are plenty of those out there.
He tries really hard, but then it always ends up getting in where he's like, I can't do it.
Yeah, time to look into his childhood issues.
Yeah. No, he's going a lot. He's had lots of therapy for it. He's trying very hard. The best. He's getting better, but yeah, he's not there just yet.
I mean, you struck it lucky because you had a great ex that you work with, right?
Absolutely.
But you didn't know that going into it.
Right.
So, like, what tips can we give our listeners out there for women out there? Like, do you date in the workplace?
I wouldn't recommend it, but it doesn't always work out that well.
That's true.
And then you're stuck with them all the time. You can't get away from them.
Yeah.
But it just depends on the people. I think if you're emotionally mature, both people have to be emotionally mature,
which is not always the case.
No, it's not. Most of the time it's not the case. But I think the way to get around that and the way to look at that, because it can be the case, is there's always something that you were with the person for a reason, right? Mm-hmm. There was something that you loved and saw in them. So just look at that and realize they're not evil. Yeah, maybe you don't like what they did. Maybe you guys aren't right for each other. And you're both better off now that you're not together. So if you look at that way, then there's nothing wrong. You don't have to be mad at them. You don't have to hate them. You don't have to and all your friends don't have to hate them. It's like, okay, well, you were there. You learned something from the relationship. You're not right for each other. You're no longer together. Let's just be adults and move on.
But it is more difficult when you have to see them every day, right? I mean, my first job out of college was in New York City, and I was a analyst in M&A. I was an investment banking analyst. So we had the investment banking side, and we had the other floor was the hedge fund boys. Uh-huh. And I definitely dated around in that pool, which was great fun. But at the same time, it could have been quite awkward.
Yeah. And I think time makes it less awkward, but I mean, in that interim, it's like,
and in your book, you talk about how then you saw Jason make out with another girl, and it really affected you. Yeah. I think it's easier said than done to say okay, I'm going to step out of my emotions and
right.
Blah, blah,
well,
blah.
I moved back to New York for a while, to get not to have to see it
exactly.
But you need that time to. Just move past it a little bit to sit with your feelings and kind of
and get over it.
Yeah, get over it. But
if you're
and
working,
then you can go back in and it's.
But
fine,
if you're working with that person every day, then you don't have that, right?
Exactly.
In my etiquette book, I actually say, don't date in the workplace unless you think it's going to be your last relationship, someone you're going to marry.
I agree with that.
And I have plenty of friends who've married their colleagues, and it works out well if you end up getting married. But if
it doesn't, then
it's a little messy. It's a little messy. It's a little messy. All right. So moving on to abuse. Uh-huh. I've actually gone through a lot of my own dating life, and I talk about it openly and honestly as well in my etiquette book, just as you have in Selling Sunshine. Uh-huh. And I feel that it's an important conversation that people don't hear enough of. And it could be women or men, right? And they find themselves in scenarios where they are getting abused, but they either don't realize it or they think it's their own fault and they just don't know how to get out.
I agree with that. I think we try to rationalize and try to excuse a lot of things. There was a movie recently that I honestly think was so well done.
It Ends With Us.
Yes.
Well, everybody's talking about it right now, but not because of the movie, because of the lawsuits.
I know. Well, that aside, we'll never know what.
We'll never really know.
Yeah, but just the storytelling itself and the way they portrayed it, being a victim of that, I thought it was so well done because as you're going through it, there's not one thing where it's it starts with something where it's wait, what happened? And it's not just your partner coming home and just every day boo, like just punching you in the face and throwing things at you. It's not that obvious most of the time. It starts off very sneaky, and where you're like, oh my gosh, like you don't realize what happened, and it just increasingly gets worse. And there are signs there, but you don't see them until it's too late. I think it was very well done, where when she starts looking back and she's like, okay, what happened? But then he's so nice to her. He's so nice. And then he's like, loves her so much, and he's so good to her. And then something happens, and it's confusing. It goes through the steps and the progression of abuse, how that actually looks in many situations, and how confusing it is.
Yeah, confusing is the right word. And in your book, you describe it as dating Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, and you say you never know which personality you're going to get.
Yeah.
Like a lot of us have been there, myself included, where you're dating someone and it's like, whoa.
Yeah.
And you feel like you're on eggshells all the time.
Yeah.
Right?
They wouldn't let me put it in the book either, the legalities, because there's a lot that happened that...
yeah, because you don't go into the detail. Like you just, there's like one big climax, but you don't say exactly what happened, but I'm guessing it was physical.
Oh, yeah.
I'm guessing like he hurt you.
Yeah, it was. I don't care about saying it on my own, but they don't want me to put it in my book. But he came home inebriated one day, and we found after this, I made us go to a therapist, and who's diagnosed borderline bipolar. But
that shouldn't be an excuse,
right?
It shouldn't be an excuse.
But he came home, and I was in a guest bedroom because I was like, I don't want to deal with this. I don't want to deal with it, and I pretended to be asleep. And he came in and just bam, just punched me right in the face.
Oh my God.
And that's when I knew. That was...
But it shouldn't have to get there.
Exactly. But at that point, I was like...
That was your wake-up call.
That was not me, like, being antagonistic. That was not anything. I was just trying to avoid an argument. And there was no debate in any way that this is too far, this is wrong, you're getting help, I'm not doing this. I had to hide from taking my kids to school, like, because I had like black eye and everything, like, and he could have like broke my...
He could have killed you.
Yeah, he could have, yeah.
He was a big guy. And you know what? If you stayed with him, like, it would just get worse and worse.
Absolutely. That's why I tell everybody, it always...
Get out now.
That whatever just happened is the new baseline.
Yeah.
And it will always progress from there.
So what were some of the early red flags that you ignored?
The jealousy, just the erratic behavior, the dramatic kind of like behavior, the way he acted when he was drinking, and then with the financial side of it.
But yeah, let's save that for later on.
Okay.
So when you talk about the jealousy, and the drinking, like, so in my late 20s, I dated a guy from Hong Kong who, I mean, they move like it's like they come on strong very soon. And within like 2 weeks, they're like, you're the girl I want. We're going to get married, blah, 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 right? That whole thing. And I was living in Beijing at the time. I was running my etiquette school. He was living in Hong Kong, and we were going back and forth. And he came to Beijing, and went out for drinks with some of my friends, and he got wasted. And when we got home, started yelling at the top of his voice. Yeah. And then broke down crying. And I was like, Jesus Christ, what is going on? Like, and then said it was my fault. Right? And then recently I was just back in Hong Kong where I caught up with a girlfriend, and she was like, oh, I broke up with my fiance. And I was like, wow, that's a pretty big deal. You guys were going to get married. You guys broke up. What happened? And she was like, oh, he was so crazy. He called me a whore. And she was like, so I was like, you know what? If you keep calling me a whore, are you sure you want to marry a whore? Like, let's just break up. And I was like, let me guess. Were you flirting with the waiter? Like, I was like, wait, were you being chatty? Were you like being chatty? Or just like, were you like complimenting the waiter on food? And is that when he called you a whore? And she was like, oh my God, how did you know? And I was like, because it happened to me. I was telling the waiter how I liked a dish and asking how it was prepared. And then that boyfriend of mine, like took me home and totally
reprimanded you.
Oh my God. And it was like, all hell broke loose.
Like red flags. Like when that happens, there's nowhere positive that relationship's going. That is going to get worse and worse and worse.
So whenever I have friends who are like, oh, is it okay if like we take a photo? So with my etiquette school, it's all adult women, right, in China. And they're mostly married. They're like in their, everything 30s to 50s. And we were at lunch, and it's usually like a dozen women. And one of them just went missing for the entirety of the lunch. She came back. She looked like she was a deer caught in headlights. And I was like, where did you go? She goes, oh, my husband did not allow me to take an etiquette course. So I had to sneak over here on my own to take the course. He found out through the kids. Do you mind if we take a group photo so I can show him there are no men present? I knew. Uh-huh. I just knew. Because like that kind of like jealous and controlling partners, like send a photo. I want to know who you're with. Yeah. And I have guy friends who also like, oh, like, please don't post that photo because if my wife sees me with like, and I'm like, I'm your childhood friend.
Yeah. The control and everything. There's such red flags. I am sad that I allowed it for so long and I didn't see it because in hindsight, I was like, that was pretty clear. But we just excuse behavior.
Or you are in denial, right? Yeah. Like, I never like to see myself as a victim.
Right.
Especially for strong women. So
right.
For you, did you ever find it hard to acknowledge the abuse to yourself or to other people? Because it's an inner conflict.
Yes. To other people especially too, like where I'm like, I don't want a failed marriage. I don't want this. I don't want to be like, oh, again, like I'm a victim because I thought that I could change everything. I thought I could fix. I guess I'm a fixer. And I always thought that I could fix the situation. And I'm going to have a perfect family and a perfect relationship. And this is just a road bump.
So when you're in a toxic relationship, sometimes you don't believe it, right? And what advice do you have for our listeners who may be close to someone, right? Or know someone who's in a toxic relationship?
Oh.
Because they're in a tough position too. A lot of the time, their friend who's in the toxic relationship is not hearing them.
Right. I think be there for them. Don't pull away. Don't criticize because the person that's in it needs a safe space to talk about it and stuff where you can still be there to try to help protect them and give them advice and like make them see in a nice way what is going on. If the friends are just like, no, this is it. I'm not going to be around the person in the toxic relationship. They need a chance to understand it. And they need someone there that's a safe space to make them see it.
Instead of pushing them further away, right?
Right. Yeah. I think being pushed away because you're already being controlled. And the man or woman is already probably trying to push your friends away from you because they want to control you.
Yeah, they're trying to isolate you. Right. That's also the other sign. They're telling you that your friends are not good for you.
Exactly.
So that you don't have any support.
Exactly. You have to approach it the right way because otherwise you're giving that validation that, oh, they're not supportive, they're not good friends. And if they're like yelling at you about what he's like an asshole, whatever, then you're trying to look like you're proving him right. So just be cautious and very supportive, but where you can, like, where as a friend, you can like make the person realize what it is, like what's really going on.
When I was dating my abusive boyfriend, and it was like getting bad. There was one incident where he was angry about something, and then we were having breakfast, and with one hand, he just like basically swiped at the bowls, and they just crashed at the wall. And I was like, holy shit. I left the house. I called one of my childhood friends who happened to be living in Beijing at the time, my friend Kevin, who's like a brother to me. And we were sitting down, and he was like, this is not okay.
Right.
He was like, he's abusive, and this is like, and still because I was in denial, I was like, no, like, And then Kevin said, you know what, why don't you Google it? Just Google controlling and angry or abusive behavior.
Yeah.
And then that night when I went home like that, I went into a whole rabbit hole. I was like, oh my God, like literally all these articles that were written by experts, right, and research and studies and this and that. It was like check. And that to me was like the biggest learning because he let me discover it for myself. Yeah. Because he realized he wasn't getting into me.
Right.
So he's like, Google it. Look at, read up on your own.
Yeah.
Now, how did you leave that relationship? Because abusive partners do not make it easy for you to leave.
Oh God, no, they don't. I escaped. I was in London and it got to the point where it was really bad at that point.
He was cheating and so he'd hit you?
I knew I was going to die if I stayed.
That was so scary.
Yeah, because at that final night, he cheated and broke my phone. And so he gave me this other phone that he forgot had photos and pictures and text on it, I guess.
And that's how you found out he cheated.
And I found out. And so he got mad at me
Jesus Christ.
for going through the phone that he gave me to use and receiving a text. And so he just beat the crap out of me, was pulling me by my hair and like down the thing and stuff like so.
Oh my gosh. And with your son in the house?
No, my son was away at that time because I was over in London and my son was away at that time.
He was with your mom.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so.
Oh my gosh.
Got out of the house, left and came back to the US, basically. I lost everything, like all my, like everything. I don't even remember. It was such a blur at that time. Like, and every time I watch the video, Ed Sheeran's video, A-Team, there's a girl, besides being like, whether she's on drugs in the video, but so besides that part, it was like, it was exactly what my life looked like right then, because I was sitting at Angel Station on the ground, like
in London,
like I don't know what to do, and I'm like just sitting there. I remember just sitting there rocking, like I was cold, and I was sitting there. I was just like, I don't know what to do. Like I don't know where to go. Because I had no phone number of my family. I had no money because I ran out of the house. I had no way of even calling anybody for help. I didn't know what to do. And I was just like, what have I done? Like to myself, what have I done in my life? Like, how am I here? And I remembered somebody's number finally, I think. And I used a stranger's phone and to call them and just, I need help. And got back to the States and yeah.
And you started a
new life from scratch. And then once I found out, and that's, I guess, where it turns into the financial after that.
Yeah. Wow. That's going to be good. When I left my abusive ex, actually, and I was looking online because it showed guides of how to do this. It said, hide your ID. Because oftentimes abusive partners they'll take it or
so you can't leave.
Yeah,
you can't go
exactly.
Anywhere.
Like literally holding you hostage. And,
yeah.
I mean, it's crazy. So how did you rebuild your confidence after leaving?
Well, I'm a very stubborn person, but
you're strong.
Yeah. I think once the fear goes away, it kind of set in where I'm like, I am not going to allow like somebody that's sick and pathetic enough to do this to somebody to win. I'm not going to let him win. Maybe in that instance, he did, and I had to start over, and but he won't. This is my life, and I'm going to rebuild, and I'm going to do it for myself, for my son. I deserve more. That's not going to be my final chapter.
You know what? You've said that so many times, and I love that about you, right? Where it's like, these things happen, and you're like, this is not going to be my final chapter.
Yeah.
Like, next.
Yeah.
You know?
There's always next, and I think that's what people forget. No matter how hard it is, no matter how, what's happened, it will pass. It will move on. Every single thing is temporary, whether it's good or bad, whatever. Everything moves on. Everything changes. And that's the beauty and the sad part.
And for a lot of people, it's also scary. Like they're afraid of starting something anew, right? So they'd rather stay in that abusive relationship or in something that's not right for them. Right. When in fact, if you're able to, I mean, what you've shown us is when you're able to leave that behind, you're actually moving closer towards a life that you want.
Yes. It's always going to get worse in those kind of relationships. It is scary to move on. It is scary to do that. And it's not easy. But there is a step by step, you will move towards like a safe, happy, normal life. You can't find someone that's going to treat you well if you're still stuck with someone that's treating you poorly.
Yeah.
So you have to you have to free yourself. You have to start something new and to be able to have the life you want.
You know what really helped me after that was a book. Like I like to like read through and research, and it helps me process and understand. And there was a book called Why Does He Do That? Inside the Minds of Controlling and Angry Men. Oh. And literally it showed that every abusive partner, because it can also be abusive women, right? I mean, it's not just abusive men. It showed that it doesn't matter what your ethnicity or your background, your education level, rich or poor, all the things they do, all the tricks in their sleeve are all the same. And me reading that helped me understand what happened to me.
Yeah. I haven't read it, but I would probably agree with that, because you hear the same stories and the same types of behavior over and over again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you not only experienced domestic abuse, you also experienced financial abuse.
Yes.
And financial abuse is even less spoken about, which is actually more interesting for me. Because I was looking this up, and there is an insane number of people in America who are financially cheating on their spouses. Nearly one, crazy, right?
I don't know these statistics.
Well,
I'm interested to hear.
So, I mean, you should know these statistics better than me, but nearly 1 in 5 people who are in a marriage or partnership have secret bank accounts, which are used to hide spending, savings, or debt. And 30% of people have had some form of financial infidelity where like they've lied about how they used money or,
yeah,
et
sounds
cetera.
about right. Yeah.
Right? And I feel there are very few protections for once you're married and once you have joint bank accounts.
Yeah.
Like,
that's why I don't.
So, okay, so I want to get to that in a minute, but it's like, so, because one of us could take out all the money, rack up all the debts, and it wouldn't be illegal unless I fraudulently signed your name or something, right? But it's like, so what happened to you and how did it impact your financial independence?
We had a business before we went to London, everything, I had amazing credit. Everything was in my name. And when we moved.
And so everything was your name because you had better credit than him.
Right. He was from London, didn't have what
credit
he did have was bad.
Red flag right there, but interesting. Okay.
I know. There were many of them. Everything was in my name because of the credit. The business was doing well that we owned. And then there were a couple things that hit around the same time.
He made some bad bets, right?
Yeah. One was not his fault. One was. And that was just a bad bet, basically. And then another one was just unfortunate that someone took advantage of the situation, wasn't paying out like the subcontractors. So then the business started going down. We moved to London and
did the business go bankrupt? Or,
no, we just closed. Like his dad got sick. And so we decided to move, start new. Tried it because a lot of this abuse was going on at that time. So I thought a new environment, like he was going to therapy and stuff like that and was supposed to be on medication. But he stopped taking his medication and everything. So, but we moved to London and in that time, all the money had to be in his account because you're not allowed to have, and I didn't know this until it was too late. You're not allowed to have a bank account unless you have the spousal visa set. Well, once we moved, I had to leave and go back. And so all the money had to go into his account because until my spousal visa is locked in, nothing can be in my name. I can't have a phone in my name. I can't have, because of like with terrorism and stuff like that, I think they've got these new rules and then a bank account can't be in my name. That's what I'm told anyway. And so
that's what he told you.
Yeah.
And you didn't bother you trusted him. So you didn't go check up on your own.
In my memory, I thought that was accurate. I don't remember. And at this time it's too late to ever do anything about it. So I choose to move on than look in the past.
But so what happened? Like the
he had all the money in his account and he started just pulling like that. He controls everything. Got very, very controlling, got very dismissive where it just treated me like I had no rights and he was the one, like the alpha and stuff now.
And then later on, like when you tried to divorce him, you found out that he racked up.
Oh yeah, it racked up.
So what did you tell us about
$100,000? When I got back home after
leaving him,
I tried to go get a car, just start over. I thought, okay, well I've got great credit, so I'm going to be able to just start over, no big deal. Get a job, take it slow, whatever. I was just going to get a very like modest car. Went to Honda to go lease a car, and they were like, we can't lease. My credit was down to like 500 something. And I was like, that's a mistake. I was like, no. And I had all kinds of stuff in collections. I had almost $100,000 he racked up in my name while we were gone. And then by the time I got back, it was all in collections. It was too late to do anything. I knew nothing about it.
And how did that impact your financial independence? Do you have to declare bankruptcy? Or?
I did.
Wow. What is that process like? Like, how does one declare bankruptcy?
Well, I waited too long to do it. I wish I would have done it sooner if I had to do it. But I was, again, very stubborn. And I was like, I'm gonna crawl out of this hole. It's fine. I'm going to move forward. I'm going to pay, like, figure it out, pay things off. But when you're in that situation, it's like, it's very, very difficult. And after about probably 4 years of trying and
Oh,
trying
you
and
tried
trying.
for that long?
Yeah. Yeah. And I kept trying to do it. And then I realized like I could have just started over, sucked it up, started over and just done things on my own than trying to do things on my own and take over what he's done. It was a hard pill to swallow because I'd always been I'm very money conscious because I never had money. And I value every single dollar that I earn. And so that to me was very difficult to just process it and acknowledge that I'd let things go so far and be taken advantage of so much that I had to do that.
Is it like forever on your record that you declared bankruptcy?
Not forever, but for 10 years.
And what happens when you like go through declaring bankruptcy? Like what? You sign a piece of paper and the debts go away, or
most of them go away, but then it stays on. So, I mean, it will impact you a lot.
Oh yeah, it impacts your credit score.
But it also helps in a way where you can start building positive credit. Before, like you can't, like you have all of these negatives and you can't get any positives. And so once you declare bankruptcy, then you can start building, and it's very slow. Like you have to get secured credit cards where you have to put the money in just to be able to use your own money. But it starts building your credit. If you constantly have all of these negatives against you, you can't ever build the positive back up.
Yeah, yeah. What are red flags that people should be on the lookout for to know if their partner is, financially abusing them?
I think just the controlling aspect of it, like where it's like, oh, like just questioning like all the money, like divvying it out. If they're hiding, being sneaky about it, you see money like missing or like new things showing up. This was something I should have noticed. It was weird. Like the stuff that was being bought, I was like, why in the world would you buy that? Like we don't need that. And it was like stuff it like expensive, and I was like, what is happening? And I should have known. I was like, where'd you even get the money for that?
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so I should have known, but why would I think he was, I don't know.
I have a friend in Hong Kong, and his parents have been together for 40 years, well, actually almost 50 years. And to this day, the father only gives the mother a credit card. She doesn't have her own like assets at all, and it's a complete form of control. And she's stepping out in Loro Piana every day, drivers, maids, everything, but she has no assets under her name, and it's a form of control.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you regain control of your finances?
I think going forward, it's like, well, you know where you stand, like because you demand everything, and I'm kind of a freak about it now.
Yeah.
Where everything my name has to be on everything. Like if it's something, or if it's something where I will not have control over my own life. So even when it comes to, because of the break-in, even like with the cameras like that are being put in, if something has Just Remain's name on it, I'm like, my name needs to be on that. Because I want to make sure legally I know everything. They have to disclose things to me.
Yeah.
They have to, where I'm never in the dark, but financially, everything has to be separate, because I'm like, every single thing that I learned.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, I will not be kept in the dark on things. So that's why I want knowledge of everything. But the security of, you have your money, I have my money, and we have a prenup and have things where.
Oh, okay, let's get into those things. Okay, so finance in relationships, right?
Yeah.
Firstly, background check. Would you recommend that people background check their partners at some point?
That is a bit extreme, but yes. Yes, I think it's perfectly fine to do that.
Did you do that for Romaine?
No, I didn't, but I think it's perfectly fine too. Well, actually, that's not true. Well, I would have known because of immigration. We had to find out everything with the immigration.
Well, you mean his visa or what?
Yeah, because when for a spousal visa and stuff, we had to do that. So I had to know everything about him.
So I actually did do a background check on my husband.
It's smart. You should know who you're with before you get married. I think you should know like everything about that person. Like, why are you having like weird secrets? Like, if you're going to get married, you should know. Maybe not when you first meet someone going on your first date. I mean, there's a bit of privacy that should be there.
Yeah, but as soon as
married,
once he had intent to marry, and things were getting serious. Yeah. Because the thing is, I was living in China at the time. My husband is living in Shanghai, and China's very different from the States. In the States, okay, you meet someone, you can do LinkedIn check, you can Google, you can do Facebook, see your mutual friends, Instagram, mutual follows, right? Like everything's pretty transparent.
Yeah.
But in China, it's 1.3 billion people. And a lot of people have the same name. Like there's 10,000 people called like Zhang Li Yun or something, right? And it's like, where the fuck do I begin?
Right.
And there are all these they're the big cities, but they're all these like villages, like second, third, fourth, fifth tier cities. And anybody can say that they're anything. I mean, you have no idea like what you're getting into.
Yeah.
And because I'd been burned like a couple of times where it's like, who are these people? And so I was like, you know what? At that point when I met my husband, I was maybe 34, 35. And I was like, I'm not going to let this shit happen to me again.
Right.
So I had my lawyer do a full-on background check. I was like, this is his business card. These are his businesses. Like, go. Because my husband invited me for Chinese New Year. He was like, I want you to come and meet my family. And I was like, this is getting serious. Okay, like background check. And I did a reputation check.
Wait, what's a reputation check?
Okay, so I wish I'd done this for like every guy I'd dated previously. So my husband comes from a 2.5 tier city that's like a 2-hour train ride outside of Shanghai.
Okay.
And I obviously didn't know anyone from the city. He's from a city called Shui. It's a gorgeous little city.
Yeah.
And so I was with my Shanghainese girlfriends and they're like, oh, I have like big brother friends who were from Shui. Send me his name and photo and I'll do a reputation check. Apparently everybody in China does this because China is so dodgy. So I was like, okay. I was like, but definitely do not say that I'm dating him. Like, she was like, yeah, I know. We'll just say you're a potential business associate. And I was like, exactly.
Okay.
Considering a business deal. And she was like, okay. So within like a day, she sent it back, sent me a screenshot. And basically her friend was like, I know this person. He's not bad. Which like for a Chinese businessman, if nobody has anything bad to say about you, like that's already considered really good.
Okay.
So then I was on the treadmill like a couple days later and my husband calls me, well, then boyfriend calls me. And I'm like, oh, hey, like, where are you up to? He's like, oh, we know I went for a haircut this morning. And I was like, oh, he's like, and I bumped into somebody I hadn't seen in a very long time. And I was like, oh yeah, that's nice. I'm like jogging away. He's like, yeah. And that person said, oh, I got an inquiry about you from somebody, from a Hong Kong lady in Shanghai looking to do business with you. And Jason was like, well, I'm not looking to do business with anybody. So whatever that inquiry was, it's fake right now. Like, I'm not discussing any collaborations in Shanghai right now. And the guy tapped him on the back and was like, just joking. I know it's a girl that you're chasing. So he tells me this and I was dying. I almost fell off the treadmill. But you know what? He respected me more for it.
Right. If you have good intentions or plans to move forward, you've got to be open and honest with the person. And you shouldn't care if the person looks you up or wants to know. Like, you have to protect yourself. This day and age, you have to.
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah.
Okay, so next thing, separate bank accounts.
Yeah.
For or against them, and do you feel like you should do them at a certain point or just never? Sounds like never from your story.
Yes, I definitely think that they're a great idea. I mean, it just depends. I think it depends on what gives you peace and comfort and stuff. I think that even having one, you can like have one joint one or something, but everybody should always have their own financial freedom. Because you're married does not mean that you have to give up everything. If it's important for you to have your autonomy and a safe space, like
independence is important.
I think it's
so
important.
You guys do separate bank accounts?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that too. One of my friends was like, my wife thinks that everything she has is hers and everything that I have is ours. I think that's great.
Yeah. Every woman likes that.
Okay, so you mentioned you have a prenup.
Yes.
Right? You have a prenup with a roommate. I mean, he is much younger than you and you do seem to be the breadwinner. What is your take on the prenup? And how did you broach it?
I got the prenup and funny enough, it doesn't really, I didn't have nearly as much when we got it. So we're going to redo it.
I feel like a prenup puts on paper the things that we normally don't want to talk about, right? But maybe we should, because relationships are a negotiation. And if it ends, there's assets involved and it's going to get messy either way. So it's good to understand where everybody stands in the beginning.
I think so. And I also think that it lays out when you're on good terms. what you want and what is fair for both parties while you still love each other. Because once you get to the point where you want to split up, it's like, you're not getting that, you're not doing this, and everyone, that's just emotions, right? So I think what is fair, and what do you really want for the person? If things don't work out, then you separate, you go your own ways, and you're not spending all of your money. It's smart because you're not spending all your money on attorneys fighting, where the attorneys are who gets all the money in the end. Like, most people are so stubborn, they run their finances into the ground paying attorneys because they're not going to let the partner win. Right. And so just decide in the beginning what's fair, and you just go your separate ways, and you end up with more. So
is that how you did it with Romaine?
Yes. So when I told him, like, I'm not, after, my ex and the financial issues and stuff, I will not get married without a prenup. He's like, that's fine. I'll sign whatever you want. And I was like, okay. And he's always been like, but he's also very stubborn, and he's very prideful. And so he will never, I know him, he will never do it. Because to him, he's like, I don't need that. I can do stuff myself. He would never take money from me, or he would never allow himself to do that, because that would be like disrespecting himself. Yeah. And he's very prideful and very,
what a great man.
Yeah. He's even if I say, here, I'll pay for that, he's like, why? Why? I can pay for it. And I'm like, I know you can. Yeah. But just let me. Yeah. And he's like, well, I'm gonna do like something else. Like, he's a very good guy, and he's very understanding of why I'm protecting myself. And he's like, you should.
It sounds like he respects you, and that's the most important thing. Yeah. So from an etiquette standpoint, when and how do we bring up a prenup without it being relationship suicide, right? Because prenups are not particularly romantic, but then again, neither is like paying rent or filing taxes or buying insurance.
Yeah. I think that you have to like proposition it and talk about it in a way where, because the reality is a lot of relationships end. And a lot of fighting happens because of finances. So because you want the relationship to succeed, and because, you want to always treat your partner with respect, you want to have everything laid out in the beginning so that there's no need for fighting about finance. There's no need for fear about, oh, well, I'm going to leave with nothing, or she's going to take all my money, or he's going to take all my money. It eliminates all of the fear. It eliminates the fighting.
Right. But then like I'm thinking like you should probably bring it up at least 6 months before getting married. Oh, definitely before the invitations are sent out. Oh,
absolutely. I would say the minute you get engaged.
Yeah. Yes.
I was like, yes, but yes, like I would say yes. And then it's like, but like, this or once you propose, but here's like, this is what we need to discuss. Like, we're going to talk about like just the situation on everything when you're talking about any part
you should just bring that in there. So
that needs to come right from the start before you start spending money on a wedding.
Totally. So one of my really good guy friends, they sent out the wedding invitations and then couldn't agree on the prenup, and then they had to like stop the wedding.
I think even dating. I honestly
throw
think,
it in there. If you know it's a deal breaker, like throw it in there.
Exactly. And then, how do you feel about a prenup? And if they're like, never in a million years would I sign one, it's like, okay, well, this is very important to me. So before you ever even propose and buy a ring, like.
Actually, I like the way you laid out that script, which is like, number one, how do you feel about a prenup, right? And I think asking when the other person's relaxed, right? Like finding the good time and saying, how do you feel about a prenup? And then saying, well, this is very important to me. Yeah. And I think each side should have their own lawyer.
Yes.
Right? Because you want representation.
Absolutely.
And it's just about, I like to say things like, well, we hope for the best, but we need to prepare for the worst.
Right. Yeah. And it eliminates a lot of the need for fighting, because you're deciding on what's fair when you have the best intentions. Like once you get to that point, if you don't do it, then it's like, okay, well then it's a free for all, and people are going to fight for what they feel is rightfully theirs. Like, and so,
in some countries, the government does it for you. So in China, when couples divorce marital assets, so like property, income, and debt acquired during the marriage, are automatically split 50-50. And whatever you had on your own before going into the marriage, like remains your own.
Well, that's kind of how that is like basically how a prenup is.
Yeah, like, exactly. Right? So it's like, that's easy. Yeah. And I was looking into this in the US, 10 states do that. it's called community property.
Yeah.
But then the other states like do it by court according to what is fair. So,
Yeah.
you know, like, so that's when it gets fun.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to being in your 40s and family planning, because you talk openly about freezing your eggs and IVF. So having more kids is clearly something that you're thinking about, right? Like, and what's interesting to me is that you were a super young mom at 16, and now are you 44? How old are you now?
I'm 44.
Right, and now you're going to be like considered an older mom.
My son is almost 28. Right? He's turning 28 next month. I know.
He could be a father himself.
I know.
Okay,
I know.
so
it's crazy.
so like, where are you guys now with family planning and?
We don't really know. We're kind of taking it as it comes. We've had kind of a crazy year, and I got a Prenuvo body scan, and I found out that I have a condition that I was born with, and it's a septum in the middle of my uterus. Now, pretty frustrated because in all the treatments and IVF and everything, where the doctors are looking directly at my uterus, they never once told me, and it prevents.
And they didn't know? They just knew it. Okay.
They didn't tell me.
Wow.
And they didn't tell me. And so that prevents me from really being able to carry a baby full term and get pregnant and keep it because with the septum, there's no blood flow on where the septum is. So, and then it also prevents the space for a baby to grow, which is why I've had so many miscarriages, why even with in vitro and stuff the embryos will start growing and then I miscarry. And so it makes sense now, and I'm trying to use that as just a motivational tool to teach women to be the advocate of their own health and life and know what's going on and freeze your eggs early because the quality and the number of them go down dramatically.
So I froze embryos last year with my husband.
Good.
Yeah, just to have that.
How old are you?
I'm 30. I turned 39, so I was 38 when I did that, right? Because your egg quality goes off a cliff.
Yeah,
basically.
I would say from 30, but if you can do it before you're 35, it's the best. I'm on the board of directors for a women's health organization now, where I'm trying to get information like this out there to women so that they know.
And so you kind of have to reframe now, right? Because you and Romain were kind of thinking about life with kids, and now you have to potentially reframe for life without kids. What is that like?
I don't know if we're ever going to be able to have them. He's being very supportive, as he always does. We've just kind of focused on the positive. We've got fur babies that we love completely. Romain calls our Thor his son. So I think, we're finding joy and happiness in other forms. We love vacationing and traveling, and so we always want to travel the world, so we're just focusing on the things we'll be able to do if we don't have kids, the things what our life will look like and how great it can still be. I hate the fact that he would have to give that up, but he also understands that I've been there, done that, and I can't really.
I mean, you've given it your all.
Yeah.
All right. I want to end with a little game because I know you've worked with many clients from various backgrounds.
Yeah.
Have you ever had any Chinese buyers or American buyers who care about feng shui?
Yes. Yeah. I never understand it that much, but I.
Okay. Well, luckily for you, I'm from Hong Kong, where it's all about feng shui.
Okay.
So we're going to have a little good feng shui or bad feng shui game where I'm going to show you a detail of a house and you guess whether it's good or bad feng shui. I will give you the Chinese buyer's perspective.
Okay.
And you tell me how it impacts the American buyer.
Okay.
And for those of you who are listening, you can also catch this on YouTube, where we will be showing all the different feng shui details and layouts on screen. So this is the first one. And we're looking at a bedroom with sloped ceilings. Good feng shui or bad feng shui? What would be your guess? Or what would the Americans think?
Good feng shui. I feel like I feel like I'm wrong on this, but I would think Americans would think it's good, but I'm assuming it's probably bad. So
why do Americans think it's good?
I don't think
Americans think it's like charming, right? They think it like a sloped bedrooms are like charming or quaint, I feel.
Yeah. I don't think they think about feng shui. Okay. I mean, I think it doesn't look pretty.
Okay, so for Chinese buyers, sloped ceilings are terrible in a bedroom.
Why?
You want an even ceiling because once it's sloped, it puts pressure on you. Like you feel like this pressure on you. And that's the last thing you want when you're sleeping.
Oh, See, I would think like, well, since the roof is raised, it's like you have room to. Okay.
Okay, you can go to the next one.
Okay.
Okay, number 2, we have an open kitchen layout. Is that what's the American buyer thinking?
It's good. It lets lots of light in, and it's open where you can talk to your other family members and stuff like that.
While you're cooking, right? Or while you're entertaining?
Yep.
Well,
bad,
in
right?
Chinese feng shui, it is bad. Open kitchens are bad because kitchens are where your chi is. And so it's like the prosperity of your and wealth of your house. And if it's open, like all that chi dissipates. So your wealth and prosperity is kind of like dissipating. Third one.
You're teaching me stuff. I like this.
Third one, we have a bedroom where there's a mirror and it's like the closets. And you see this a lot where the closet doors are mirrors and it's reflecting the bed. What is an American buyer thinking?
Makes the room look bigger.
So it's good.
Yeah, it's good.
Well, in feng shui, it's really, really bad. It's like the worst thing you can have in your relationship because if a mirror is reflecting onto your bed, it means that there's a third party interfering in your relationship.
Oh.
Right? Once you hear that, you cannot unhear it. So what that means, what does that mean? Affairs, infidelity.
Oh. Okay, yeah, I can't unhear that. Okay.
Yep.
Right.
That's why we'll like
That's
cover
really
it up
interesting.
somehow and yeah.
That's really interesting. Okay.
So
this is actually helping me. This is going to help me with clients that I meet.
Oh yeah, once you bust this out, they're going to be super impressed.
Thanks.
Okay, place in order of desirability a home that faces north, south, east, or west, which is the most favorable direction.
I know I've heard this one before. East is supposed to be, or no, west.
Well, what do American buyers think?
It's either, well, it depends. But most people want to see either the sun, well, people want views. So wherever the view is. But with that being said, if you have both views and you have a choice, a lot of people want to be able to see the sunset. So people want a west-facing house.
Chinese don't like that. we like south and we like east because south is you always get light and east is you get soft morning light. The west facing is seen as too hot. There's no balance, right? It's too hot. You're like scorching your apartment. And then north has no light, so it's too cold.
Okay.
So
you like
south and east are good
and east.
for feng shui.
Okay.
All right. So fifth one, we have a house sitting on a cul-de-sac. What is an American buyer thinking?
Safe for families, where you don't have a lot of through traffic. Your kids can go out and play, and it's right at the end where a cul-de-sac is safe.
Chinese buyers thinking it's terrible feng shui because there is no space for the energy to go back and forth. Your energy's clogged up at this cul-de-sac, and that means you're not going to have prosperity. Everything's going to be stagnated.
Interesting. So interesting.
Okay, last one. Over here we have a layout, a floor plan of a house, and the living room. How would you describe this living room, Mary, on the bottom right?
How would I describe it? Oh, well, there was that's an angled. It's
angled. It's not square.
Yeah.
So what's an American buyer thinking? Looking at this floor plan.
Well, it's going to be difficult to fit your furniture in there to organize it
So
like
it's
in
bad.
there. They're not going to like it.
Yeah.
Unless there are massive views and it's like unless there was that where the where there were pocket doors that open, because there's a lot of places like that on the corner. Where pocket doors open or something, but this is a condo, so.
But this actually
correct?
does have amazing views. I think it's somewhere in the Bird Streets.
Oh, okay.
But a Chinese buyer in this case would agree with the American buyer. It's bad. You don't want an angle. You want all your rooms to be square.
Okay. Yeah. The angled, it's difficult to.
But even from a feng shui perspective, like you want everything to be square. Like you want your angles to be like 90 degrees.
Why?
And because it's balance.
Oh, okay.
So anytime you have an angle off,
it's
imbalance.
Oh, got it. Okay.
All right. And Mary, I have a little gift for you to thank you for coming onto the pod. I know you're really into self-care and pampering yourself, but I want to know, like, how far have you gone to pamper yourself? You can give me those.
Okay.
Because this is something to pamper your vagina. This is some vaginal care.
I do not know if I don't think I've probably gone this far, but you never know.
Well, open it up.
Okay.
Yeah, you can put the bag down.
Okay.
And check this out.
Will my husband be thanking you?
Oh, all husbands thank us.
I do cleansing gel, the intimate.
So you can
pocket spray.
Yeah, you can pick it up.
Sweet.
You can open up the wipe. The wipe is our bestseller.
The wipe.
So,
okay.
Yeah, this is actually my brand.
Oh, is it really?
Anti-water. Yeah, and you
Oh my
can. There's a
gosh.
sticker on the bottom that you can like.
Just open it up.
Exactly.
There. Okay.
And it's feminine care. So we have
nice.
wash wipes and sprays for your vajayjay. And everything's formulated with traditional Chinese medicine.
Oh, nice. Okay.
I grew up in Hong Kong on herbal remedies, and
it works better.
Yeah, and it's just it's clean, it's safe, it's effective.
Nice.
And it helps remove odor or irritation, and especially as we get older, right, going into perimenopause or menopause.
Right.
Keeps
This
you
is
soft, clean, and fresh. Yeah, so there's the wash. You can use it in the shower.
Nice.
And then
Thank
the
you.
sprays are really fun. Yeah, open up the spray.
Okay.
So this spray is our pocket spray.
Okay.
And it's great for travel because I know you're on the go a lot.
I'm on the go a lot. Yes.
Yeah. And you can even use them as like a body like a deodorant.
Oh, cool. Okay. Just a little freshen.
So what you do is you turn upside down, like leave maybe like 4 inches away from your vagina and like little spray. And
That's
immediately
so great.
freshens you up.
We all love to have self-care.
Oh, yeah.
Can't leave your vagina out.
Yeah,
right?
exactly, right?
She's important.
Yes. It's like the lost frontier of self-care.
She's very important. I cannot get this over for some reason.
Yeah, with your nails.
I know.
So with next time you get intimate with Romaine, you can keep this on your bedside table.
Perfect.
And then be like little spray before.
Oh, nice. You've got multiple ones in here. I need to not have nails anymore, right? I'm like,
there
here
you
we
go.
That's so
you can
cute.
try spraying the back of your hand. Just have a little smell.
There you go. Smells good.
Yeah, it's just nice, light, and
fresh.
herbal. Very
Yeah.
fresh.
Super fresh.
And we're very,
Oh.
very clean. Like it's.
I love that. Try to leave all like the chemicals and all this stuff out that are in so many
Exactly.
things. I love that.
Yeah. And then the
There's
wipes
so
are great
much
for on
going
your
on
period.
in like the air and like the just products and chemicals and everything. It's like, how do you get away from them?
Oh,
Like it's insane. This is amazing. I love clean products.
good.
Yes.
And then the wipes are great for before and after intimate moments.
Okay. Fantastic.
So you can fit in a cuddle before you rush to the shower.
Perfect. Well, my husband's home today, so maybe I'll have to do that today. He'll be happy. I'll have to give him a shot.
All right. Well, Mary, it's been a pleasure having you on the
Thank
pod.
you.
Good luck with shooting the next season.
Oh, thank you.
I'm so excited for you.
It's going to be a very interesting season. It's already been very interesting.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Any spoilers? Any teasers?
Oh, man. There's way more drama and oh my God moments, and a lot of changes because of all of these oh my God moments, like big, big, big changes.
Well, we can't wait. It's September that it's coming out?
I believe it's going to be in September. Yeah. I don't have an actual date, but I just asked the other day and they said, yeah, it's going to be September-ish.
All right. Yeah. Everybody stay tuned. And remember, what we've learned from Mary today is that starting over doesn't have to mean failure. It's just another opportunity to create a life that truly reflects who we are and what we want. So remember to like, subscribe, check us out on YouTube. Thanks for tuning into Mind Your Manners. I'm your host and etiquette life guide, Sara Jane Ho. And remember, no matter what life throws at you, with me in your ear, you got this.